Okay, we are recording. Can you see the chart, Linda?
Wait, we could see the chart.
Do
Well,
we
I could see the chart.
Do we also see folks on the right side or?
Yes, I see
Well,
on
I
the
guess,
right side.
but do you see the complete chart or is the chart hidden by the?
No, I see the complete chart.
Oh, very well. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We are currently 42 and probably more are going to join us. Just so you know, 185 signed up today. For the same meeting last a few weeks ago, we had 100 and 200 signed up and 45 or 52 joined. So, due to scheduling issues, some people are able to join and some are not, but the interest is there. BioSuperfood for your immunity is a important current topic. We've got to move the chart now. So let me start with these cute questions, important. Would you like to not have to suffer from colds and flus, not come down hard, or not die from them, or not have severe side effect and whatnot? Or be protected from the current, from side effect of vaccine, for example, certainly of flu, but of any vaccine. I'm not going to talk specifically the word COVID, because as far as I'm concerned, a virus is a virus, and we're going to talk generically, but certainly protection of side effects from any injection that you may choose or have to in your life, do in your life, or feel strong enough to decide not to get certain vaccines. I'm not naming any. So I invite you to stick around, stay with us, stay with me. You'll learn a lot today. Besides, even aside from BioSuperfood, you will learn a lot about your immunity. Immunity was there before BioSuperfood. Well, in reality, algae were there before humans. So that's an interesting point. At the end of the talk today, I will offer two gifts, for certainly one great one for any new user that would like to try the BioSuperfood. And also for anyone on the talk today. Let me share an interesting, not interesting, a fabulous success story, which we have thousands, if not certainly thousands, but certainly in my book, we have hundreds coming in every day. People are sharing their story. But this is one specific about immunity. I believe my immune system is responding to the Formula 3 formula. By the way, it would respond to Formula 1 or 2. This person shared, her name is Teresa, that we had met at a conference. That's how she had come across BioSuperfood, that she typically comes down with anything that goes around. That was the story of her life. But this time around, she felt barely slightest signs of my body fighting something off, a bit of increased mucus drip in the back of my throat, just sort of there making itself known. But she took a couple more capsules that day, and by the next morning, voila, she says, I felt fine with no further problems. Fighting off virus that quickly and painlessly is practically unheard for me. Now, she also shared in her testimonial that everyone around her is coming down, husbands and family and so forth. And this is very typical story of BioSuperfood users. I want to shed light, a different perspective here on BioSuperfood. And I don't know if some of you have no idea of what is BioSuperfood. We'll address it a little bit later. But this is a non-BioSuperfood research. and published in the National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health, a government, United States government held database. There are many, many stories with algae around the planet. There has been many, and there are still some. This one showed that it focused specifically on the dietary or on carotene, and doesn't mention here algae. It just speaks about carotene, beta carotene, alpha carotene, lutein, astaxanthin. I presume these words you're familiar with. There's over 1,000 different carotenoids on Earth that we know. And we know that some have become very famous. They've been made famous by companies. Say, for example, astaxanthin is now such a famous algae. Though it's not an algae, it's actually a carotenoid separate from its mother, the algae, Hematococcus. But this specific research points out that carotenoids acting as antioxidants reduce the devastating effect of virus or cancer, etc. Recent study on the role of carotenoid in the regulation, apoptosis, and angiogenesis, anti-mutagenic, if you wish, have advanced our knowledge of the mechanism of action by which carotenoids regulate immune function. We're talking about immunity today, and cancer prevention.
Okay, let me introduce me, Roland.
Yes. Let me, when I was speaking with Dr. Kiriac this morning about whether to share or not this article, he was very excited, and let him say what he told me this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. I will tell him in French for everyone. Roland will translate.
I will translate, yes.
C'est assez intéressant aujourd'hui, car tout le monde commence à parler d'immunité. D'immunité, ça va dire de la système de la défense pour notre organisme. Et ça, c'est positif. Finalement, elle ne parle pas de fast food, etc. Elle parle d'immunité. Habituellement, pour tout le monde, immunité, c'est vaccinez-vous, portez la masque, lavez vos mains et gardez la distance. Mais ici, finalement, nous avons des recherches pour les caroténoïdes. Nous avons même des nominations comme lycopène et plusieurs. Mes amis, avec une grande différence. Parce que, est-ce que le lutéine est bon ou non? Sans problème. Lui, véritablement, il est très bon. Est-ce que l'astaxanthine est bon ou non? C'est la roi des caroténoïdes. Oui, il est bon. Mais il n'est pas primaire. Les primaires dans la chaîne alimentaire, c'était les cyanobactéries avec la gamme des antioxydants, des bêta-carotènes, des alpha-carotènes, des zéaxanthines, des cantaxanthines, parce que le lycopène, il n'est pas primaire. Le lycopène était arrivé dans la chaîne alimentaire plusieurs centaines de millions d'années donc après ça. C'est pour cela qu'il n'est pas assez efficace. Et pour cette raison, non seulement Roland Thomas, mais lui est devant nous, pour cette raison qu'il a utilisé plusieurs produits de bonne qualité, des lycopènes aussi, mais il était mieux, mais lui n'avait pas des résultats finaux assez bons. Donc, dans un produit complet, comme le BIOSUPERFOOD, nous avons aussi toute cette gamme de caroténoïdes, incluant l'astaxanthine et incluant les enzymes qui deviennent actifs tout de suite, immédiatement, pour le renforcement de la système immunitaire. Ça, c'est primordial pour nous tous à comprendre ça. et de me croire que ça, c'est la vérité. Merci.
All right, so I got my work cut out here.
Yes.
I was trying to transwrite at the same time. I think I'll do a fine job. Today, people speak, fortunately, today people are speaking about immunity. Why? Because of this issue that we're having in the world, which is very interesting. They're not speaking today about junk food or McDonald's or various issues in the world. They're speaking about immunity. Immunity is in the forefront, it's in our mind. People are afraid, people don't know what immunity is, and so forth. In this particular research, the discussion is about beta carotene, astaxanthin, lutein, which are all very good in and of themselves, but they are not the best. They are not primary. Primary is the original carotenoid that came from the first cellular organism on Earth, which is the cyanobacteria, of which all all blue-green algae, including the spirulinas, are derived from over the billions of years. While a carotenoid like lutein was not part of the original makeup. These lutein came millions of years later with the evolution of plant life on our planet. In the BIOSUPERFOOD, we have the primary source. BIOSUPERFOOD is made of primarily of the cyanobacteria, different strains of spirulina, and as well as Dunaliella. And in it, we have a spectrum of carotenoid, certainly the beta, alpha carotene, zeaxanthin, phycocyanin, astaxanthin is present, lutein is present, and many, many more. But they are not occurring as a extract or as a separate from the parent algae. They are present as a whole food with the presence of all subsets of amino acids, enzymes, all the cofactors that make these carotenoids functional, vastly more functional than one taken separately, which may even become toxic. Dr. Kiriac shared my story that I used to take at last count over 25 different bottles of supplement. Before I met Dr. Kiriac, lutein was in my arsenal, beta carotene, and many other supplements, and which, as some of you know, I have quit entirely of taking any of those 25 products. And when I switched to the BIOSUPERFOOD 20 some years ago. Dr. Kiriac was introduced, so welcome, Dr. Kiriac. Dr. Kiriac was nominated Person of the Year in 1986, just after the Chernobyl disaster. And he was nominated Person of the Year for having led the largest non-commercial, non-profit, in other words, no cheating, commercial microalgae study ever conducted on Earth to this day. Not a study, it was an absolute field trial, real life with large livestock farms and so forth, over 1 million animals involved. The real deal, if you wish. So I wanted to present that. And on this picture, he was interviewed on national television for the nomination, and he's showing 2 eggs to a reporter. And by the way, I have this live where you would see the discussion between him and the reporter. And he demonstrated the efficacy or the immunity on the farm. He was sitting at the head of a 1.5 million chicken farm there, a research farm. He licked one of the egg in front of the reporter, and he told the reporter, "I'm not afraid say, of salmonella or other infection. And if you come tomorrow morning, I promise you, I will be here and I will be prepared to lick every egg on the farm, which would have been many, many millions of eggs. He was boasting, in other words, how secure he was about the immunity on the farm due to the fact that all the animals were fed the bioalgae concentrate, the biosuperfood, as well as the researchers and the farm workers. So if you would like to learn the details of Dr. Kiriac's life, personal life to some degree, and certainly of the many research projects that he was involved to, which led him to earn this award, this prestigious award, Person of the Year. With his help, we've written a little book, precious book, that contains the research and his life story. And I invite you to get a copy of it if you haven't read it yet. At the end of the talk, I will share a link with you, or you could email to get a copy of it. Dr. Kiriac, when I met him, some of his first words were in French, but that the biosuperfood awakens the genius within. That's the title of the book, by the way. And by that, he meant that biosuperfood crosses blood-brain barrier, all barriers in any parts of the body, but certainly those that are made famous, the blood-brain barrier, the blood-retinal barrier, the blood cerebrospinal, the blood-spinal cord. Those areas are protected by our evolving body against, the last thing you want to lose is your sight, or the critical organ that manages your entire metabolism, namely the hypothalamus, which is a pea-sized organ situated pretty much in the center of the brain. On the left side, I show this general area where not only the hypothalamus, but certainly the pituitary and very critical organs. This chart shows a declining aspects of losing property and functionality at the brain itself. For example, we have brain plaquing. We have mitochondrial dysfunction. We lose energy. We have energy dysregulation. We have DNA alteration. So this is the brain. Loss of brain speed. It is said that we lose 10 milliseconds per decade of brain speed. That is normal, but with early Alzheimer, nowadays, and so forth. On the right side, I've exploded the function of the hypothalamus. As you can see, it is in charge of knowing everything, every aspect of your temperature or any kind of infectious attack, etc., and regulates the body, sugar, the body, all functions, sexual function, digestive function, and so forth. So as I shared earlier, I'll be able to share these charts with you. So today we're not going to be reading all the words on this chart, but I want to share a picture. Picture tells 1,000 words. Yeah. Last 2 weeks ago, actually a month ago, we had a presentation specifically discussing the hypothalamus, how the biosuperfood impacts the hypothalamus. Michel, je vais lire celui-là, mais aux 3 autres charts, tu passeras à l'action.
Allez-y.
In that, this is a hypothalamus hand-drawn by Dr. Kiriac, a professor, a scientist, when he was teaching a group of naturopaths in Montreal area. He was drawing this live with them. He spent a good few hours with them, so they would understand the mechanism of the hypothalamus. It shows that nutrient-rich blood flows from in A, if you look at the A on the chart, into the capillaries within the hypothalamus in A2. And it also shows that normally the blood, which is the red flowing lines there, descends via the vena porta, the VP there on the chart, which is a canal that links to the pituitary gland. And I'm simplifying here because there are many other aspects on this chart to understand, but simplifying it into B. So the synthesized hormone at the capillaries of the hypothalamus are descending to the pituitary to be finalized and released in the body in D. Blood, hormone-rich blood flows in D. That is the normal, healthy process. But we all know that with aging, with disease, with shock, with stress, with bad nutrition, this functionality is not perfect. And that's why we have so much imbalances, so many disease, so much problem in our body as we progress in life. So on this second aspect of the chart in C, I show that the normal blood flow in the capillaries of the hypothalamus in A2 at this point this blood is rich in the preliminary releasing hormone. A lot of it is lost to the general circulation before having a chance to descend into the pituitary. There is loss, which is sad, and that's the case. So we have less metabolic vigilance or vibrant endocrine activity than we should, or than we used to have when we were 12 years old. There's a decline in life.
Okay, Roland.
Prochain. Here comes BIOSUPERFOOD. When we consume BIOSUPERFOOD regularly and a few times a day, we keep preventing this loss. We keep increasing the energy of the cells of the hypothalamus, which synthesize these important trigger hormone, and there is loss and prevention of loss. So you have much greater efficiency at all the metabolic activity, subsequently of all glands, organs, tissues. Ultimately, every cell in the body is awakened when you, or increased in energy and functionality when we consume BIOSUPERFOOD on a regular basis. This is a picture that depicts what we've been talking about. On the left side is the declining with aging and diseases. And I made it black and white so we understand that. On the right side is when you include the BIOSUPERFOOD, you have an increased activity of the brain, literally brain speed increase, focus, memory. How many of you have experienced that already? And subsequently cascading positive effect on every aspect of human health in your body. Down to the cellular level, because in reality, we are not made up of blood or muscles or organs or tissue. We are made up of cell. Every aspect of our body, even bones, are made of cell. So it's really down to the cellular level that health, the war, if you wish, on the disease is a war of balance fought at the cellular level. So we see on the left side the healthy aspect of cellular activity. Everything is nourished, hydrated, oxygenated, alkaline. We want alkaline. We don't want to be rusty, like a rusty battery. We want to be an alkaline battery. The fluidity, energy, of course, and growth and long life. This cellular long life. This is where longevity starts. It's not an ID. Long life is based on cellular life. And on the right side, we have the reverse. We have the disease, all aspects of disease. Acidity, starvation, hypoxia, lack of oxygen, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to bring this up before we start to speak specifically about immunity. At this stage, Dr. Kiriac is going to be speaking in French, sharing what he wants to say about this chart. And I will make my good attempt to translate well, but I've also written the gist of what he will be speaking about for your, to help you to grasp, and these charts will be available. Dr. Kiriac, please share with us.
Thank you very much. C'est un sujet assez actuel aujourd'hui de discuter de l'amélioration de notre système immunitaire par voie alimentaire, parce que c'est vraiment le système immunitaire qui va nous défendre et qui est conçu pour défendre notre organisme, notre santé. Et voilà que nous avons ici, tu vas m'aider avec la flèche sur les virus. Oui. Que d'abord, quand nous avons ici un antigène, un virus, c'est celui-là. Le virus qui attaque notre organisme. Mais en fait, ce n'est pas le virus qui, lui doit rentrer dans notre cellule, voilà, pour provoquer une prolifération et pour gagner la bataille, pour nous rendre au cimetière. Mais il y a toujours une condition. Ce n'est pas le virus qui nous attaque, c'est allié qui s'appelle une protéine, parce qu'un virus, lui, arrive avec une protéine étrangère. Montre les protéines étrangères, là. Oui. Ce n'est pas une protéine humaine, c'est une protéine virale. Et c'est lui qui nous fait du mal. Alors, le problème, et le job de la système immunitaire, de combattre tout ça pour provoquer la fabrication des anticorps pour empêcher le virus d'entrer à l'intérieur de la cellule. Et les protéines étrangères.
On passe à la deuxième charte.
Oui, non. Ça, en biologie, on l'appelle épitopes. Voilà. On passe dans la...
Well, let me translate this part first. So this chart depicts viral attack. A viral, we use the word virus, but it's really in the scientific arena called an antigen or antigenetic. It's against your genes. It's a foreign body. It can be bacteria, it can be a virus, which we call virus, or other forms of foreign body. So depicted on the charts are in yellow, those antigen, which come in millions, right? This is just a very simplistic representation of a viral attack. And then their goal is to penetrate cells. We can see in green a human cell. Any of the human cells are under attack, and are equipped to defend themselves, but the virus are mean. They would like to lead us to cemetery if they can. But it is not really the virus or the virus that is the danger. It is the foreign protein surrounding each of the virus. You can see the virus is more like a truck. It's a transport mechanism, and it carries those non-human foreign protein. By the way, these little triangles are really all sorts of shape, which are there to trick the cell, to allow the cell to open up the receptors, to let the virus penetrate and within the cell to proliferate. And of course, that leads to death. And so now we're going to talk about the antibodies, or the defense mechanism of our human immunity.
OK, reste ici. Alors, l'attaque virale a un succès alors quand nous profitons trop de notre organisme, quand on mange des cochonneries, quand on travaille trop, quand on ne se repose pas, quand on ne se promène pas et on fatigue l'organisme, et c'est là que le virus a un accès à l'intérieur de la cellule et qui a une réussite. Mais le génie de l'organisme est supposé de nous défendre, mais il n'est pas capable de faire ça. Pourquoi? Parce que, voilà pourquoi je viens de le dire. Et une fois qu'on commence à prendre un produit assez fort, complexe, l'organisme déjà, le système immunitaire est obligé de fabriquer de lymphocytes B qui commencent à fabriquer des anticorps spéciaux, voilà, pour l'épitope spécial, pour une forme d'épitope spécial. Parce que vous savez, donc les...
Getting back. Sorry about that.
Je pas. Parce que les épitopes sont de différentes formes. Il y a une forme triangulaire, comme est ici. Il y a une forme ronde. Il y a une forme carrée. Il y a une forme figurale. Et pour chaque forme d'épitopes, de cette protéine étrangère, nous avons besoin d'un anticorps spécial qui les couvre et pour provoquer une bonne bataille contre cette attaque virale. Allez-y, Roland.
So here we are showing our acquired immunity or innate immunity. When we're born, this is all there ready to defend against such viral replication, I should say such viral attack via immune replication. What we're showing here is the defensive cells called lymphocyte, which will explode in quantity as our hypothalamus detects an attack. This is just a natural process that we are blessed with. And these lymphocytes also carry antibodies. So antibodies are to if you wish, foreign body, really should be the specific word, are equipped to change shape or to address the shape of the epitopes, which are these foreign protein around
the special antibody for the special epitopes.
Yes, each of the antibody will mimic the shape of the epitope, which can be square or circle or a triangle. I'm just showing triangle here, but they're very tricky, these virus, yet our lymphocytes are very smart. They're equipped to fight the fight in our natural good immunity state. And tu veux continuer?
Oui. Et le problème est que dans une grande majorité, le virus ou antigène lui a un grand succès. Parce que les bêta-lymphocytes, ils n'arrivent pas à fabriquer des anticorps spéciaux pour une forme de protéines étrangères, d'épitopes spéciales. Et elle attaque seulement une forme triangulaire, par exemple. Mais nous avons même virus qui arrive avec une forme triangulaire et en forme... Et voilà. Et avec 5-6 capsules par jour de la formule 3, les bêta-lymphocytes, montre-moi, bêta-lymphocytes, Roland.
Oui.
Non, en haut. À la fois, commence à fabriquer des anticorps de différentes formes pour attaquer au complet non seulement le virus, mais tous ses alliés, ça veut dire les protéines étrangères, de les avaler.
Okay. Unfortunately, no way, as we are older or sick or weaker due to stress and so forth, poor nutrition, junk food, our immune system is not so apt at protecting us from all the types of of epitopes. So in other words, our lymphocyte will manage, say, to create antibodies in red to a certain shape, but may not be quick enough to fabricate for other shapes. So the virus wins this war, and thus we come down with the cold or flu. Sometimes it's painful and it can lead to death. While we are blessed, and it can be certainly a good lifestyle, certainly eating proper diet and so forth, all of these will increase your immunity. Do not forget that first and foremost. But we are blessed to have BIOSUPERFOOD in supporting us in our good immunity. When we consume a few capsules per day, 5 to 6 capsules, particularly in cases of immunity, the Formula 3 is the most supportive of our immune system. Our lymphocyte, natural lymphocyte, will be much smarter, and they will also proliferate into all sorts of lymphocytes. And
No, stop. OK, thank you, Roland.
Il fallait que je finisse ta première version, Michel.
Non, parce que ça, c'est déjà autre étape.
Mais tu l'as discuté.
C'est une autre étape, Roland.
Oui, Michel.
Et jusqu'à date, on a discuté d'une petite partie de le génie d'organisme qui est actif dû à 5-6 capsules par jour. Mais le génie d'organisme est beaucoup plus grand. Ils peuvent être beaucoup plus efficaces. Et comme ici, l'expérience nous prouve qu'on augmente à 8 capsules par jour, je pars de la formule 3. Là où on part de le système immunitaire, c'est la formule 3. Donc, on augmente à 8 capsules par jour et voilà qu'est-ce qui se passe. C'est très intéressant. La bêta-lymphocyte, la cellule, elle commence à se cloner. Oui, à cloner. Elle nous donne des millions. Une cellule bêta-lymphocyte, due à 8 capsules par jour, elle commence à fabriquer des millions de cellules. On l'appelle plasma cellule ici. Là où nous avons 8 capsules. Merci. Avec une capacité physiologique phénoménale. Je te laisse, Roland.
At this stage, we also know that by increasing the number of capsules per day, we specifically are talking about the Formula 3 when we're talking about immunity. It's the most efficient. Up to 8 capsules per day, you will have further increase of the body's immune defense. It literally happens overnight as you start to introduce more capsules. The lymphocytes will clone themselves into, at this stage, they're called plasma cells, and by millions and millions of them. We're not talking about 6 or 7 here. And as well, these also fabricate by millions antibodies, trillions, to protect against the viral attack. This is the genius of the organism. Its efficiencies increase as you introduce more capsule. Literally, it's quasi overnight. This success happens. Dr. Kiriac.
Voyez-vous qu'est-ce qui se passe? C'est phénoménal. On arrive à contrôler et à coordonner l'activité immunitaire dans l'organisme. Contrôler et coordonner. Vous pouvez me demander, est-ce qu'il y a 8 capsules, c'est maximal? Non, pour chaque personne est différent parce qu'une personne est plus disciplinée et l'autre est plus fatiguée. Et dans ce cas de plus fatigué, on augmente la dose. Et voilà qu'est-ce que ça va se passer. Comme vous voyez en haut, les radicaux libres, non, les anticorps sont collés de la cellule, de la lymphocyte. Roland, montre-le en haut. Ils sont collés. Excellent. Mais en bas, les plasma cells, elles fabriquent des trilliards de radicaux libres, mais par contre, ils ne sont pas collés sur la lymphocyte, ils sont allés dans le sang, dans tout le système, pour pouvoir prendre en plein chaque ennemi qui arrive dans notre organisme, pour le frapper jusqu'au bout. C'est une chose. Il y a un autre génie. C'est pour ça que, d'ailleurs, il faut augmenter la dose. Au moins une capsule, parce que les plasma cells, elles sont dues à fabriquer des memory cells. Parce qu'elles se gardent dans l'organisme pendant des années. Au cas où l'autre infection arrive, et ces plasmas, ces cellules de mémoire, memory cells, ils vont les laisser savoir aux plasma cells, écoutez, on a de la visite. Il faut recommencer de fabriquer des anticorps. Il va recommencer de fabriquer des anticorps, même dans 1 an, dans 2 ans, si l'attaque s'en vient. Vous comprenez qu'est-ce que je veux dire? Ça, c'est la vraie vaccination. Ça, c'est le vrai renforcement de le système immunitaire. Okay. On est capable de le contrôler et de le coordonner. À chaque pas, on le coordonne. Pourquoi je dis ça? Parce que la bêta-cell qui est en haut, elle est capable de fabriquer des anticorps spéciaux pour une forme spéciale de protéines étrangères de la virus. Roland, si tu arriveras à traduire.
Faut que je garde mon respiration. I'll do my best. Again, when you feel you're coming down with the flu or cold, depending on your state of health, by the way, somebody that's rested and in good shape and good fitness may not have to increase to 8 per day or 10 or 12 even. So this we have to be smart about this. We're saying here between 6 to 8 capsule will increase the coordination, the control, the efficiency of coordination and control of the hypothalamus, results in the efficiency of triggering the defense, which are those lymphocytes, and proliferation of antibodies, plasma cell, which, as you can see here, are not shaped as the same original. The antibodies are not sticking, are not attached to the plasma cell. They are liberated across the bloodstream, all over the body, to be ready to defend, to protect, to attach themselves to the epitope, which are the foreign protein, and to devastate and destroy the virus. As well, these plasma cells also have the function, the gift of fabricating, of leaving behind memory cell. Memory cell, that is the genius of the immune system, is that it remembers this viral attack, creates memory cell that will remain in your body 1 year, 2 years, remembering the specific antibody shapes and so forth. So that when they're ready, when the next virus comes by, the variant, if you will, a tricky variant, they're ready to attack and defend and protect your your body. That is the genius of our immune system, which can be increased. We are blessed by the fact that using BIOSUPERFOOD, we can increase our immune protection. Thank you.
Memory cells, ils ont encore une fonction assez géniale. Car dès que le problème est réglé, le système immunitaire est fort, on n'a plus besoin de fabriquer, d'avoir tellement une quantité si grande des anticorps. Et les cellules de mémoire, elles vont rappeler aux plasma cells, écoutez, c'est assez, merci beaucoup, je ne veux plus. On s'arrête à fabriquer des cellules, des radicaux, des anticorps. Ça veut dire que c'est une balance véritable. Alors, c'est un vrai contrôle et coordination de la système immunitaire avec un produit extraordinaire, comme avec 8 capsules par jour de la formule 3. Après ça, on va passer à l'autre diagramme.
Another beauty, I would say, quality of the memory cells and of this system of fabricating and leaving memory cell is that the memory cells, when your immune system has gained the strength, is in good balance, that the memory cell will then allow or suggest to stop the fabrication of antibodies because we have enough with the memory cell. So this to explain that there's a balance. The immune system, imagine if the antibody were kept on being created. So there's a balance that is managed by the coordination and control of the hypothalamus. I need to admit some people here. One moment. Okay. So I think that's the end of this chart. Let's move on to an interesting part here. Dr. Kiriac.
Donc, merci. Donc, c'était une autre étape, la deuxième étape de la niveau et le taux d'activité de la système immunitaire. Et regardez qu'est-ce qui se passe avec le virus. Et qu'est-ce qu'ils font? Parce que, oui, on a des radicaux libres, mais ils font quoi? L'organisme de bataille, ce n'est pas le box, c'est quelque chose beaucoup plus complexe. Et comme vous voyez en haut, les radicaux libres, ils vont contourner tous les virus, ils vont les pousser vers les cellules mangeuses, parce que nous avons ici l'autre lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, qui il nous dit quoi faire. Et dans notre cas, ici, nous avons une cellule phagocytaire, une grande cellule qui est capable d'avaler les virus à l'intérieur. Mais pour cela, cette bataillon d'anticorps vont pousser le virus à l'intérieur de cette cellule phagocytaire, à l'intérieur. Roland, tu as compris comment montrer?
Oui, oui. Est-ce que je peux présenter?
Oh, oui, s'il te plaît.
So on this chart, we're showing that we're showing the white blood cell, the killer T cell in white, but we're seeing also that the plasma cell, the lymphocyte cell in green, have this ability to clump up, to gather the virus, the millions and millions of virus together in clumps, and to push them towards these white blood cell, these killer T cells. And as you can see in the shape of the white blood cell wrap itself around. It's not like that the virus penetrates at this stage. It's more that the white blood cell wraps itself around these clumps. Anybody that has done live blood microscopy can actually see this in action in live blood when the white blood cells start to chase bacteria and so forth. It looks like it's a fight. Dr. Kiriac says it's not boxing here. It's a lot more complex than that. And the goal of these white blood cell killer T cells is to wrap the virus, and the virus are caught within the white blood cell. Let us continue with Dr. Kiriac, because it's not
Yeah.
the virus is not finished yet.
Parce que vous comprenez, les cellules phagocytaires ou bien les cellules mangeuses de le système immunitaire, elles sont en train de contourner, d'avaler à l'intérieur tous les virus qui existent dans l'organisme. Et nous les avons ici déjà à l'intérieur de cette cellule mangeuse. Non, voilà, de ces cellules mangeuses. Donc, on peut dire que la bataille est finie, mais pas tout à fait. C'est pour cela qu'ici, déjà, on se sent bien. Et je reçois très, très fréquemment des appels. Est-ce que je peux m'arrêter de prendre la formule 3? Et c'est ça la grande confusion. Ce n'est pas un médicament. C'est un aliment, c'est un aliment complet pour le cerveau, pour la culmination nutrition cellulaire cérébrale, qui va faire quoi? Dans notre cas, ici, c'est un autre génie. Parce que nous avons ici le virus à l'intérieur des cellules phagocytaires, mais le virus est vivant. Lui va attendre notre situation, et dès qu'on devient stressé, pollué, dû à une pollution, fatigué, toutes sortes de stress qui nous arrivent dans la vie. Et eux, à l'intérieur des cellules phagocytaires, des cellules mangeuses, elle va dire, oh, je m'en fous. Elles vont commencer à refonctionner. On aura de graves problèmes déjà, parce qu'ils sont à l'intérieur des cellules. Ils sont déjà à l'intérieur. Vous vous souvenez, la première charte, elle était le problème principal de ne pas donner la permission d'entrer dans la cellule. Mais ici, ils sont dans la cellule, sont contournés, sont inactifs, sont passifs, mais eux, ils peuvent devenir actifs. Et je vais continuer après la traduction.
All right, so we're not done with the complexity of the fight of our immune system, the genius of our immune system to regulate and eliminate virus. On this chart, we see once the clumps of virus are controlled, they are thus now inside of the cell. They hopefully are passive. We start to feel good already. The cold, we're over the flu, we feel better. These viruses have been controlled, they're circled in prison, but with different lifestyle, or we're stressed, we have a shock, we have lose a loved one, or we are weakened, our immune system is weakened. And these viruses are very happy when that happens. They're very happy because they're inside the cell and they can cause us a lot of damage. They have not been eliminated. They are within the cell. That's a stage of immunity that's not the completion.
Merci. Et voilà qu'est-ce qui se passe par la suite. C'est le génie. C'est intéressant. C'est facile de travailler avec ce produit. Parce que dans cette cellule mangeuse, nous avons, mais d'abord, oui, j'aurais dû faire encore un diagramme. Les lysosomes des cellules vivantes, les lysosomes, c'est un sac physiologique qui pénètre à l'intérieur de la cellule mangeuse. Oui, je vois que j'aurais dû faire encore un dessin. Il rentre à l'intérieur des cellules mangeeuses. Et qu'est-ce qu'il va faire? Les lysosomes, c'est une porteuse d'enzymes digestifs qui s'appelle lysosome. Le sac lysosome, Ça, c'est lysosome. Et parce qu'il y a quoi à digérer à l'intérieur, ils vont libérer, voilà, les points verts sont des trilliards d'enzymes qui vont attaquer les cellules, les virus ou les bactéries. Ils vont les digérer jusqu'au but, jusqu'à la mort cellulaire. Et par la suite, qui est aussi génial, qu'est-ce que c'est un virus? Lui est formé de protéines, aminoacides, des lipides qui sont de très haute qualité pour nos cellules vivantes. Et dû à cette digestion des lysosomes d'enzymes, le produit final, le virus déjà devient un aliment pour nous, pour nos cellules. Et la cellule déjà, nos cellules, elles commencent à manger le virus, mais déjà décomposé, déformé en protéines, en lipides, etc. Acides aminés. Et ça, c'est déjà la phase finale de bataille entre le virus et anticorps dans le système immunitaire. Ça veut dire que ça, c'est déjà, le système immunitaire, il est très fort et il faut que les cellules de mémoire s'arrêtent de former, de fabriquer des anticorps. Et voilà pour quelles raisons. Moi, je ne me suis jamais entre nous. Je sais combien nous sommes, Roland, là-bas? 50?
Nous sommes une cinquantaine, oui.
Je vais vous dire, je ne me suis jamais vacciné parce que je me sens très bien et j'ai un système immunitaire extraordinaire, fort, parce que j'ai le vrai renforcement de le système immunitaire. Et pour cette raison que tout le centre de recherche à l'époque, 1 500 000 poules pondeuses, n'a jamais été vacciné. Croyez-moi, ce n'est pas des mensonges. Merci.
Wow.
Et si vous aurez des questions.
Let's move on to the final stage in a successful defense against viral attack. We have shown that the virus are clumped together and they become inside the resident, welcome or unwelcome resident within cells, where they, as we mentioned earlier, they have the ability to wake up if you are fatigued, stressed, and another viral attack comes in. It can be very unpleasant. But another aspect of the immune system, the final stage, if you wish, we have in our body lysosomes within cells. Lysosome is more like a carrier of lysosomes, which are enzymes. These enzymes have the ability, when they're liberated from the container, the lysosome, to start eating at the virus, destroying the virus, decomposing the virus. And the beauty of this, listen to this, not only do we eliminate, finally kill the virus, the potential, the activity, the active virus, but they're decomposed into what? They're made of proteins. Viruses carry proteins. They carry amino acids. They carry nutrients, which are good for nourishing the cell. So not only do we win the battle here, but we further increase our good health with the virus, which is food for the cell. In ending, Dr. Kiriac says, that is why he did ask how many people were on the chat on our talk, to be cautious. He says that's why he never got vaccinated in his life, and he never comes down with the flu or cold. And that's why on the 1.5 million poultry farm, never did they vaccinate, in the part of the research, did they vaccinate the poultry. And there was no infection, no marek cancer, no infectious disease that could have eradicated 1 million chicken. It was not afraid of such. Voilà.
Parce que j'ai partagé maintenant avec vous le génie d'organisme sur le contrôle de BIOSUPERFOOD, mais c'était 1%. Le génie d'organisme est beaucoup plus grand. Beaucoup, beaucoup plus grand. Ça veut dire qu'on peut contrôler et coordonner infinitivement l'organisme et le système immunitaire avec ce produit.
We have spoken today about immunity specifically, which is one extraordinary metabolism amongst hundreds of different metabolisms in our body. Vitamin D metabolism, thyroid, parathyroid, we could go on and on. There are millions of different types of activity, which are also increased and more vigilant and vibrant when we introduce BIOSUPERFOOD as a regular part of our diet. Let's not just think that BIOSUPERFOOD is immunity. It is global. It's infinite, or I should say the innate smart of the human body is infinite. And the BIOSUPERFOOD supports and increase this phenomenon.
Thank you very much.
On va passer aux questions à la fin, Michel, si on veut.
Oui.
Tu veux bien. Here's a picture that describes something that is easily verifiable. Easily, you need to have a live blood microscopic practitioner, if you wish, unless you want to buy those expensive microscope, which I used to do in my early practice as a naturopath. You take a drop of blood from the finger, you put it on a plate under the microscope. Typically, in America, Canada, or in the world, the blood is not so nice when it's on the plate. You often see the shapes, as you can see in the upper part here, which are clumped, rouleaux, stacked together. They're not as functional as can be. We're looking at red blood cells specifically, which you can see live under the microscope. But underneath, we see a picture of a healthy looking red blood cell. They are detached, they are separated. It's like a commando. They're ready to transport oxygen and nutrients in the river of life. What is happening? What is the difference between two is that when you increase, when you take a product, and specifically here, I'm going to talk about BIOSUPERFOOD, but it can be done with some other activities, such as if you take wheatgrass, let's say, you can actually shift the oxygenation of the blood. That's what we're talking about on the right side. Every hydrogen molecules within our red blood cell in its final stage has to acquire 2 oxygen molecules to become oxyhemoglobin, oxygenated red blood cell. Otherwise, you have fatigue, you have red blood cell, but you have anemia. It's not diagnosable because you have the count, but they're not powerful. They're lazy. So oxygenation is a major component of, as you know, energy in our body. And this can be seen with consuming 2 capsules of Formula 3. 30 minutes later, under the microscope, you can see the difference from above to below. Absolutely. You can try it yourself. So I'm reiterating whether you would like to benefit from not getting down, because we all get infected. It's a matter of how hard or not at all that we come down from a cold or flu. Or if you do have to get vaccinated, not fear the side effect or the dying from a potential vaccine injury. Feel strong enough to resist, to not want to take the vaccine, unless forced by law. Some of us may decide to go ahead. And I assure you, if you intend to get vaccinated, you should get on the BIOSUPERFOOD Formula 3 before and during and after. You know, we talked about immunity today, but a great aspect of immunity is how about cancer, prevention of microtumors from being born. This is where the immune system is at its best. Before a tumor becomes a tumor, it quenching constantly 24/7, millions of times per minute. It keeps killing these free radical, the desire of the body to fabricate these microtumor. And so many other benefits that we are not talking about today. General energy, brain, focus, well-being, your vision, and on and on. So I highly recommend you try it. There are 3 formula for human and 2 formula for animals, for pets, formula 1, 2, 3. And as you go from 1 to 2 to 3, you have greater efficiency at impacting more rapidly the brain, the hypothalamus, and with the resulting benefits. It's the same principle for animals, but we only have the formula 2 and 3 equivalent for pets, animals. You can visit BioSuperFood, bioage.com or bionutrition.com in Canada, or bioage.ca. So we are available. We have product in stock. A gift today is a 20% discount for new user, new customers, using the coupon code immunity. It will be valid up until the end of the Tuesday coming. Otherwise, you can visit awakeningthegeniuswithin.com to read online the book, or you can email us to get an ebook version that we will send you by email. At this stage, we will open up for some questions. You're welcome to ask or share.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I took the first the core product, and now I am moving to the second product, the middle product.
This Travis?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so my question is, what's the difference between the 3? So, I mean, because I'm just taking 12 capsules of the first product. So moving to the second product, am I still needing to take 12 capsules, or is it different, or is it different formula? What's the difference between these?
Yeah.
Oui, Roland, tu vas te l'expliquer.
Oui, oui.
Mais aujourd'hui, comme dans un cas d'une pandémie, au moins on a 6 capsules par jour. Si le jamais n'a un autre problème plus grave.
Travis, the difference, technical difference between the 3 formula is that as you go from 1 to 2 to 3, you have more intensity of the carotenoid function, of the energy transfer, which is achieved by intensifying exposure to light. A quick example is a Dunaliella algae is normally sort of brown algae and 12% carotenoid in nature, in the wilderness. Under bioreactor controlled technology that Dr. Kiriac was involved in inventing, in discovering, by imposing light on that plant, it can be boosted up to 27% carotenoid. So you have that phenomena between 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because not everybody needs 3. Infant, child, children are very happy with Formula 1, young teenagers and so forth, or healthy adults. Minimally, we suggest at this time that it should be, if you switch to Formula 2 or 3, it should be minimum of 6 capsules per day to address immunity in a productive and an aggressive way, not in a proactive, if you wish. To prevention is the mother of invention. So we do have guidelines, Travis, which I'll be very happy to email to you, which explains the 3 formula and how many capsules to take for whatever conditions, etc. We'd also be very happy to answer your questions by email or call us.
Thank you.
Someone else has a question, maybe?
Yes, Marlene Desir, I have a question. Hello? Marlene Desir? Yes, I just started taking the first formula, I don't have any idea how many I'm supposed to, well, I can take up to 8 a day, you say, but at what interval do you take them? Because, you know, I don't know if I have to take 2 at the same time or just 1, or every 15 minutes I take 1. Could you explain?
Marlene. Bonjour, Marlene. Bonne question. We suggest frequency trumps the amount. So it's better to take 6 times 1 capsule than, let's say, 3 capsules twice a day, or even 4 capsules twice a day. That's not as efficient as even 4 capsules distributed throughout the day. You want to take them at regular interval, 2 hours, 1 hour and a half interval, during your wake stage of the day, from morning till before sleep or after dinner.
Okay.
Spread the goodness, if you wish. We have the guidelines that we will be very happy to share with you that also explains this in detail. Let me give you an example. We've had a client, we've had many such situations, but who was not so comfortable economically. And when we were proposing to him to take 12 capsules a day for advanced diabetes to help him, to help his body regulate, he switched on his own decision to 1/2 capsule 12 times per day, which made it 6 capsules total. And he was benefiting just as much. So by that, we mean that quantity, that frequency of intake is the efficiency of feeding the hypothalamus frequency throughout the day, not let it go back to sleep. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Could I please ask a question?
Hi, James.
Hello, hi. I'm a psychiatrist working in London. I've become interested recently in how many individuals, particularly exposed to lots of toxicity, are developing something which has been termed mast cell activation syndrome, where the mast cells are producing too many inflammatory mediators, such as histamine, etc. It seems to be an indicator of the immune system being strained or unwell. I'm just wondering whether Michael or yourself has any experience at looking at this presentation and whether the preparation impacts it. And the second question is, do we need to be concerned about people who have evidence of autoimmunity? And is there any risk that the capsules can worsen the autoantibodies that have been left in the system? So 2 separate questions, one about mast cell activation syndrome and the other about autoantibodies, autoimmunity.
Yes. Great question. It comes up frequent once in a while because many, as you know, people are told they have autoimmune problems, and they're afraid because here we're talking about increasing immunity when sometimes their physician will tell them, no, you know, you don't want to increase your immunity, which is frankly, scientifically, an aberration, right? It's not trusting the fundamental underlying innate intelligence. Taking the BIOSUPERFOOD in all instances of autoimmune that I've worked with, or sensitivity, some people have extreme sensitivity to anything new, has to be managed. You don't want to, let's say, if you have a hypersensitivity to anything, to start rapidly. It's both placebo, because people say, oh, this is powerful, it's going to change me so much. They're afraid because we speak in words like that about BIOSUPERFOOD, you know. It's scary. 1 capsule you can feel the difference overnight. So people think it's dangerous. It has to be managed. In other words, when you have a situation like you explained in both cases, we suggest you start with 1 capsule a day for a week. Wait out till the body adapts to this new revolution, because we prefer an evolution in the body of the general overall metabolism rather than a revolution would be taking 3 capsules on the first day. So that's our advice. I don't know of any conditions after 22 years of working with this product that it cannot help. Though I've faced people resisting either placebically or getting hypes or skin irritation or remembering past pains, awakening, if you wish, in the, let's say, in the healing process. There's some change that can be apparently unpleasant. So starting gradually and checking every week, and then gradually increasing to 2, 3, 4 capsules. That is addressed in our guidelines, in that it's discussed under the gradual adaptation rather than a normal adaptation to the product. I hope that helps, James.
J'ai encore une chose à ajouter ici.
Mm-hmm.
Quand on parle de problèmes auto-immunes, c'est, vous comprenez, dans l'organisme, si on contrôle et on coordonne la fabrication hormonale, qui ça va poursuivre par le renforcement du système immunitaire, on n'aura jamais des problèmes auto-immunes. Parce que jamais un système tout seul, il fonctionne, ne va fonctionner tout seul, jamais. Et si on revient sur la charte avec les cellules de mémoire, voilà.
OK, on va partager.
Stops. Grazie. Vous voyez qu'est-ce qui se passe? C'est le travail des cellules de mémoire. Quand on a trop des anticorps dans l'organisme et on peut pas, et nous contrôlons pas le système immunitaire, les cellules plasmiques, ils vont continuer de fabriquer des anticorps dont on n'a pas besoin. Voilà pourquoi les cellules de mémoire, ils vont vous dire stop, arrêtez de fabriquer des anticorps parce qu'on peut avoir des problèmes de bataille entre nos cellules mêmes. Et si on, dans ce cas, avec une 8 capsules, peut-être plus, les cellules de mémoire seront capables d'arrêter la fonction, le travail des cellules plasmiques, d'arrêter la fabrication des anticorps qui va régler, en bout de ligne, va régler le problème. Ça, c'est le génie de l'organisme. Vous comprenez? Normalement, on ne doit pas avoir de problèmes auto-immunes. Des problèmes auto-immunes, on a des organismes qui sont mal balancés. Dans ce cas, avec cette formule et avec cette dose, on corrige grâce à la nutrition complète du cerveau qu'ils vont activer la force des cellules de mémoire. Merci.
Very good addition to what I was sharing. In the example of the immune system at the stage of the memory cell, we explained earlier that the memory cells remain in the body present for years and are there for two functions. They will be ready to conduct the fight against the next viral attack, but they're also there to prevent the continuous creation of antibodies, the red components here, unlimitedly if the hypothalamus is not in hypervigilance, is not awakened, is become lazy. There are imbalances in the cases of autoimmune. That's a fact. This is imbalance of the of the control and coordination of all endocrine function in the body. Introducing the BIOSUPERFOOD, even though we may exert caution in case of sensitivity or people that are told they have autoimmune issue, to start slowly, but to ramp up as soon as possible towards 8 capsules per day, so that you awaken, if you wish, to wake up or to return to the vibrant, innate balance of the all endocrine function, which subsets of that are immune system and so forth.
Roland, Sherry Gray has her hand up.
As a question?
I
Yeah,
think so.
yes, I do. I do. So Roland, I'm taking out 4 F3s a day, and I take them through the day by opening up and pouring like half into my mouth and drinking a little water. So I'm getting a total of 8. Can that cause diarrhea?
Mhm.
That's one question.
Yeah.
And the other question is, I'm dealing with a lot of stress, which I have for a long, long time. And I have some PSTD symptoms flared up about a couple of weeks ago. And so I think I'm off balance. And I went to a Chinese medical doctor to get some acupuncture, which I've only done. This is only the second time I've ever done that. And he said I have some imbalances with my liver and too much heat in my heart and spleen dampness and stuff like that. So he's got me some herbal tea to take. Also, I have the obsessive compulsive disorder where I wash my hands too much and clean things off way too much. And that it's just like a vicious cycle of anxiety creating that symptom and then that creating more anxiety. So if there's any advice you can give, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, let's take the easiest one to address. It might be diarrhea. Diarrhea, when you start to take BIOSUPERFOOD and you have diarrhea, it's typically because the introduction was a little quick. It's a detoxification. It's actually a congratulation, I should say, but it's not pleasant. My personal experience, because I'm a bit of a, when I get onto something, I do at full speed. You know, when I started, I remember I call leaky stools, not diarrhea per se, but that passed on rather quickly after a week or two. So if you have diarrhea, I suggest you drink more water. And also, if you're at 4 a day now, maybe don't go up further until this has passed. You can even go down to 3 or 2 for a couple days and then come around. But it is actually, it's a healing situation. So congratulations for that. Regarding the other aspect that you talked about, I'm going to tell you that there's no doubt that many people, and including myself, I've shared benefits of calmness, of less anxiety, less worry, more present moment, because the cellular energy is more immediate. The brain speed is more immediate, is more coming back around. You know, and we work with dementia and Alzheimer and autism. Example with dementia is the gradual decay, maybe plaquing, but also slowing down of the brain speed, whereby when you try to reach a recent memory, there's confusion, thus anxiety, thus fear, and it's an unending, very unpleasant situation. When we introduced BIOSUPERFOOD in cases of early Alzheimer, we've had many clients reporting that their parents were now cooking again, or talking again, or active again. It's not an overnight miracle. I don't want to paint this picture, but the benefit at the brain, which when you have more energy, you live more in the present moment, which is less of regrets or fear of worry of future. So it brings us more in action oriented. I have benefited from this incredibly in my life. I used to, in my youth and frankly adulthood, suffered from some kind of bipolar issue, and that is totally gone out of my life. I cannot address, PTSD, PSTD and this right now. One thing I can share with you, I'm sorry to say that, but to address problems such as the liver or spleen, and to then, that's a little bit allopathic. In other words, we address holistically. BioSuperfood is a whole food. It addresses every cell in your body. For example, when the cells of the liver are energized, are active as they should be, are oxygenated as in the picture that we show, then the liver will function better. It is not about the liver. It is about the cells that make up the liver in biofeedback with the hypothalamus. It is that extraordinary relationship of the genius within down to the cells at the tip of your big toe. I hope this helps. Otherwise,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can send me an email or send us an email. We can go a little bit further, but start slowly and ramp up gradually.
J'ai reçu un message, Roland.
Hein?
J'ai reçu un message et il me demande de partager avec Svetlana Goretsky. Tu te souviens de Denver?
Oui.
Elle vient de m'écrire pour partager avec tout le monde. I want to thank you. I was very close to the person who have had COVID-19, but I didn't get sick. I'm taking now 11 capsules per day. Ça, c'est avec tous les problèmes qu'il y a eu de cancer. C'est magnifique. Elle veut souligner qu'elle prend 11 capsules par jour.
Uh-huh.
Parce qu'elle prend soin de quelqu'un avec le Covid.
Uh-huh.
Il ne tombe pas malade.
Dr. Kiriac just received an email from Svetlana, a person that I met as well from Denver, Colorado, who has been fighting 3 bouts of cancer successfully, taking around 12 capsules a day for many, many, many years, very successfully. Fighter, a survivor, but recently, because she's helping someone with COVID symptom, actually infected with COVID, she is very specifically suggesting to take 12 capsules a day to be, if you're near the virus or people that are infected. And she wanted to share that. She cares that much that she wanted to share this with us.
Nous étions à Denver avec toi, Roland, pour une formation de personnel. Ça fait une quinzaine d'années. Et à l'époque, tu dois te souvenir, à l'époque, elle a eu déjà une bonne rémission de son cancer. Et elle nous avait sorti aussi une nouvelle, qu'elle prend 30 tiers de capsules par jour.
Mm-hmm.
Et la réaction de la salle, c'était, écoute, c'est une journée full de travail. Et Svetlana, elle a répondu, oui, c'est vrai, mais je ne suis pas dans le cercueil, mais je vous donne des conférences maintenant.
Okay, I will share this. This same Svetlana, 15 years ago, was visiting her we had a professional formation there, and she had joined us to share her recent remission from her cancer, breast cancer. She was sharing that she was taking for a long time 1/3 of a capsule per day, 30 times a day, 1/3 of a capsule. And somebody in the audience said, "Oh my, how can you do that? That's crazy." And to which she responded, "Yes, but I am here now speaking to you and sharing my story. I'm not in the casket."
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for sharing.
Peut-être on va finir ça.
Listen, please send any of the chat questions that you may have had. Send them to us via email at info@bioage.com. And we'll address each and every one of them like we did at the last meeting. This meeting was recorded. We can also send you the recording and as well the charts with the writings beside it. So that may help you to follow the recording even better. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you today. And next time we will be talking about hypothalamus and certain glandular specific, such as maybe thyroid or vitamin D metabolism. There's so much to be explained about the working of the hypothalamus with the human body that we can't just throw it out there in 1 hour. So we'll have a different conversation next time. We will repeat the specific hypothalamus discussion in greater details. Thank you very much. Stay in touch.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Thank you. Phil, sir, my friend Phil, good afternoon. Javier, I think you're here. Trip, hello, Trip.
Leurs commentaires seront bienvenus, Roland.
Yeah, of course.
Hello, Dr. Roland.
Thank you, Trip. So many of you would like to say hello, but here it is. Hello, and until we meet again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.